everybody. This is for our return flight back from Nantucket to North Central. The previous video was made just about an hour ago. Let's assume that I've had my lunch and I'm ready to head back to the mainland. So because I had just this is sort of the return leg. Airplane is still sort of hot from its previous flight. I'm really just going to check the oil, which according to this is 6.7 quarts, and just do a quick check of certain other minor things like the making sure that I'll still sump the fuel, because the fuel I did get a fill up here since I was running low on the flight to Nantucket. And so you always sump the fuel after you've had it filled up. So we filled to the tabs, which means I have about, 60, I believe, 60 gallons of fuel. Okay, that's not correct. I don't know why it's doing that. There we go. Yeah, 60 gallons of fuel. So, other things that you would check is the, just check for any dents in case anybody ran into the aircraft while you were out. I have heard that happens more often than you would think, which is kind of unfortunate. I guess just like at your supermarket parking lot, somebody might ding your door and not leave a note, I guess, which is kind of dangerous. I would hope that people on airport ramps are a little more courteous, but you can't assume anything, I guess. So, once again, we've got say intentions. I did also ask the FBO to check out my push to talk button on my primary yoke here, and I believe they have it fixed. So, we won't run into that problem this time around. But I do have the second one just in case. So we'll see how we do there. One other thing, I don't know how this happened, but in between times I lost my airport diagram, so I'm going to print out a fresh one of that. And now we are ready to go. So before I get this plane started, I am going to just bug this right now. I like to do as much before the airplane starts as possible. That way, because in real life I rent, and every single minute that I've got the airplane turned on. Let me do the math right now. How many wet minutes am I spending here? I do yeah, it's over $4 a minute. So yeah, that's it's an expensive hobby, which is why I do like Flight Simulator to keep me current, or not current, but keep me sort of a little less rusty, so that I don't have to fly every few days just to be comfortable when I do fly, which is more like every 40 days at least. In the summertime, I am planning on flying a little bit more often, but it's still very expensive. All right. So let's get the show on the road. So we're gonna turn this on. All right. I did actually set the parking brake. I really shouldn't have done that. Honestly, I had the tie downs on. Alright, so I'm gonna set the throttle up a little bit here. Fuel pump. One, two, three. Clear prop. Look around myself here. Okay. And away we go. Jeez. Okay. Brakes were not working there. Okay. But brake check is working now. Okay. Alright. Oil pressure is good. Oil temp is okay, it's cooled down a bit since I turned it on last. Let's take a look at our ATIS. 1275. Whiskey. Altimeter 1000? Alright. Well, that was a glitch on Say Intention's part. I'm just gonna hit B. I don't know. Altimeter 1000 makes no sense unless maybe they were thinking we're in hectopascals or something. But yeah, that's inches of mercury is what we are doing in Nantucket. Alright, so I've got ground here. So let me make sure we've got our things situated here. So I'm gonna do 118.3. That's our tower frequency. And then oh, that's right. I was trying to do the FBO Unicom, but that didn't work out. So what was it? It was 132 point something. I actually don't have the ground frequency up here. So what I'm going to do is just, well, no. I'll just look up here. 132.5, that's right. Alright, so now I got that. Got this all set. Fuel pump off. Wean the mixture. And yeah, we should be all set to go. So we're expecting, I'm going to expect 2.4 for this one because I don't want to take off 3.3. It's not ideal. Well, I mean, I guess it's okay. I've got a straight path to Charlie. Alright. Nantucket Ground, Arrow 814 November Delta, requesting taxi with whiskey, departure to the north. Sorry, no. Arrow 814 November Delta, request departure taxi with whiskey. Foxtrot Charlie Alpha, hold short 24, 814 November Delta. Alright. Yeah, they got a little bit confused. Say intentions. I still had the old say intentions session open, so I guess they still thought that I was taxiing to the general aviation parking. So no biggie. I mean, that can happen sometimes in real life too, I guess. Alright, so I'm going to pretend that this truck here is not there because that's not where a truck would be. Yeah, okay, and they also would not run you down like that. So, yeah, that's exactly why I don't have collision detection open on in Flight Simulator here. Oh, did they say hold? They might have said hold short 3.3. Nantucket Ground 814 November Delta. Did you want us to hold short 15? Sounds like, nope. Same intentions as thinking about that one. Nantucket Ground, Arrow 814 November Delta, holding short 15. Should we cross? Cross 15, continue taxi 24 814 November Delta. Yeah, I think I don't know if they if he said hold short 15 before, but you always need a actual clear to cross. And we are cleared right, cleared left, clear cross. But yeah, if you get taxi instructions and you are about to cross a runway you weren't expecting to cross, obviously you cannot assume that you are clear to cross that runway. You know, you are supposed to copy back hold short. They are supposed to tell you hold short, but you also need affirmative clear instructions to cross any runway. The taxi instructions also are not really correct here. I see Foxtrot, but Alpha Charlie makes absolutely no sense in the context that they're giving us here. Really, it should be Foxtrot Echo Kilo that I'm taking here. Runway 24. And I'm using the real world charts too. It's got like the flight simulator is different, but yeah, I'm not sure what's up there. But we're gonna do our rung up. So let's see, what's the best place to do it? I guess I'll do it right here. Alright. Fuel pump on. Switch to the left tank. Mixture rich. To 2000 RPM. Left. Or, sorry, that's right magneto. Left magneto. Alternate air. Back to 2000. Alright. Idle. I'm gonna switch to tower here. And I'll just lean the mixture again. And we'll be ready to go. North departure. Nantucket Tower, 814 November Delta, holding short 24, ready for takeoff. Ready for takeoff 24, 814 November Delta. Alright, lights, camera, action. Clear left. Clear right. And away we go. Oh, jeez. Yeah, it's Uh, I've heard that that happens with the arrow, just flight arrow a lot. Is it tends to really zigzag on the runway with the slightest rudder input, which is not what happens in real life. Gear up. Alright, stereo cockpit, stereo cockpit. So Nantucket does have some noise abatement, so I'm going to stay south of the shore here until I'm about 2,000 feet. Alright, so one thing I like to do, people talk about gumps. That's the mnemonic for landing. I actually call out gumps for every phase of flight, just to, because it's just as important anywhere else. So gas, we have our fuel pump off. We're not leaning the mixture yet. We're set to left tank, which is fine. Undercarriage, of course, the gear is up. That's fine. Mixture is on the what we call frequency change approved, 814 November Delta. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, undercarriage, gear is up, mixture is cruise climb, and P is P is propeller. Yeah, mixture, right. And then S is for seat belts. I always have my seat belts on. So, of course, purposes of sim flight, no, I do not have a seat belt. I've got a very, very simple desktop setup here. I've got the Logitech yoke with a throttle quadrant. I've got a trim wheel, and I have rudder pedals. That's pretty much it. Everything else is what you see here on the screen. So for the return flight, I'm going to be hugging the upper coast of Martha's Vineyard. We'll be crossing New Bedford, and I'm going to cruise at about 6,500 because east is odd and I'm traveling west. Trim it out. Alright, now we've got throttle actually right where we need it. 24 inches of manifold. Just setting here. Alright, well, I'm gonna pop quiz myself. Let's assume I've got engine out. What are my options right now? Well, I am in between Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard, but I am certainly within. Well, right now I can definitely tell I am within gliding distance of Martha's Vineyard. The airport is in the center part of the island, right over there. It's hard to say if I could actually make it all the way over there, but there's also a grass airfield over here, and that's certainly where I would try to plant it. Um, it's and then of course radios. You know, you, the thing about engine outs is you know when you look at some of the more dramatic scenes from movies and other other places, engine out is sort of like you have no choice but to ditch the aircraft, and the reality is you do need to do some troubleshooting. So you can't do what Trevor Jacob did and just abandon ship. There's a lot of reasons why an engine might quit on you, and some of it is actually fixable in the air. A lot of times it's just fuel exhaustion, and you might just need to switch your fuel tanks. Sometimes it might be that you turned off the you somehow accidentally let the mixture go lean, and it quit that way. Other things could be that it might be some sort of a mechanical problem, but you can still alleviate it by turning the fuel pump on. There's all sorts of different reasons why an engine could go out, and if you've exhausted all of your options there, that's when you are committed to landing it. But what pilots are always taught is the ABCs. So, A is airspeed. You need to just pitch for glide, so that you're not losing. You're saving as much altitude as you can. Best glide is your airspeed, basically when at which you are losing the least amount of altitude per mile. And then your next is to look for a suitable place, and that's sort of what I did. The first thing I said was, where would I go? And I identified the either the airport here or the grassy field, which is obscured by the wing at the moment, at Martha's Vineyard. And then that's when you go through the rest of your checklists. So it's always good to keep that in mind. And then that is C. C is for checklist. You have D, which is declaring emergency, and E, which is if I remember correctly, E is for exiting the aircraft after you've actually ditched it. So. Obviously, let's suppose Martha's Vineyard's not here, land is too far away. You do, of course, have the option of landing it in the water. That's certainly not ideal. Right now it's early April. That water is very cold in New England, and shark infested, and landing an airplane in the water is not as smooth and safe as one might think, especially open water like this. If you're landing on a peaceful lake, where there's no boats or anything to worry about. That's more survivable. But ocean water is completely different. And a little bit high here. Let's adjust that. Move ourselves back down to 6,500 feet where we belong. A lot of pilot training is about emergencies. Actually flying from point A to point B is the hard part, is the easy part. Landing is the next easy part. Handling emergencies is the stuff that they really want to grill into you, because first of all, it's not something that's going to happen to you very often, if at all. But when it does happen, you need to know what to do right off the bat. There's no, you can't just go to Google on your phone and say, okay, what do I do? You need to go back to your training for that. So many of my hours of training were just dealing with, diverting to other airports, which is happens a lot more often. When you're a GA pilot, especially VFR, you're going to be diverting. You're going to be changing plans fairly often. I would say at least 1 out of 10 of my flights have a diversion of some sort, and sometimes it's a pretty normal diversion, and it's not a big deal as long as you're prepared for it. You always have alternate airports. The number one reason for a diversion is just weather. You might have it might turn out that there's a fog bank. I did have to divert for one of my cross countries. I was supposed to go to Hartford, Branyard from Providence, or actually no, it's my long cross country. So I was going from Providence to New Haven, which was non-eventful. But the fog did not lift over the Connecticut River Valley, which is where Hartford Branyard is. So I had to instead go to Hartford Bradley Airport, which is about 10-15 miles north of Hartford. And I went there instead, and I was still able to fulfill the long cross-country requirement for my solo, so there's a a lot of flying is all about handling those what ifs. So this time around, what I'm going to do, I'm going to try flight following again. The last time I did this on Say Intentions, there's a few awkward radio calls made by ATC. Repeating instructions and sometimes giving me weird information, so I'm gonna contact Providence Approach 23675. And I'm going to, let's see, I'll put 120775 into here just so that I have it. So this way, if I have flight following, and assuming that they don't say I'm denied, I'll be going through their Charlie airspace. Oops. That is the wrong, that is the ATIS. That is not the first time I have done that. And once again, I need to, alright. For some reason, ever since I was training, for some reason I have it written down properly. I just alright. There we go, and I'm just correcting my oh yeah. Once again, in real life, I'm able to just leave my hands off of the yoke and it just continues flying normally. But here it doesn't do that. Okay, so alright, I got everything situated here, so I'm gonna do Providence approach, arrow 814 November Delta. It does that all the time. Providence approach, arrow 814 November Delta is about 10 miles south of New Bedford Airport. Request flight following to North Central. I forgot the altitude. Squawk 4552 and ident arrow 814 November Delta. Copy 814 November Delta. So now, because they gave me my tail number in their transmission, I have clearance through their Bravo airspace. So, assuming they don't later say state, resuming navigation for November Delta. Yeah, there's no reason to say that as part of your flight following unless you were previously given vectors. I say again, that's a little bit weird. But whatever. So there's New Bedford that I'm going over right now. Right over there. it's a beautiful day. I'm using live weather right now. The only thing that's different is it's 12 hours later right now than it is in the sim. That's just because I don't want to do night flying right now in the sim. I'm trying to get myself acquainted with daytime VFR for my flight tomorrow. We'll see if I can fly tomorrow, though. Once again, the weather's been not cooperating with me on the weekends. So I am trying to fly to King, New Hampshire. We'll see if that happens. The last time I flew was, I guess it was a little over 2 months ago now. And that was really just pattern work because the weather wasn't really good then either, and I just wanted to keep my landing currency anyways. I might do that again this time around, we'll see. Pattern work is not my favorite thing, actually. I much rather actually go somewhere. I feel a lot more accomplished doing that. So technically, because I am at 6,500, I could fly over the Charlie airspace anyways, but I would have to descend within the Charlie to get to North Central, so that's sort of why I'm doing it this way. So right ahead of me, right at my nose, is Fall River, Massachusetts. And right over here is T.F. Green International Airport, just south of Providence. Right over there is Providence itself. We'll probably be getting a little bit closer, and we'll see the skyline here soon. North Central Airport, Kilo Sierra Foxtrot Zulu. Well, yeah, I know. Thank you. So that's Newport over there. So yeah. Controller's asking me for what my final is after I've already told them is nothing new. That actually is kind of common in my experience. In real life, when I ask for flight following, they sometimes forget where I'm going. Now, because I'm not in multiplayer or anything like that, there's much less activity going on. Actually, there's no activity going on. In real life, there would be a lot more activity, especially around Providence. It's not exactly O'Hare International Airport, but it is busy enough that there's a lot going on. There's a lot of airline traffic, there's a lot of flight school traffic, there's a lot of GA traffic, so you have to keep your ears open, and ATC can sometimes be a little bit overwhelmed and forget some of the folks just flying through with flight following. which means, you know, one of the benefits you get with flight following is if there's any NOTAMs that opened up while you were in flight, sometimes they'll advise you of that. Sometimes they might advise you of weather. They might advise you of other traffic. You know, it's good to have, but it's certainly not perfect. Both in in real life too. You still need to have your eyes open for any possible traffic. It's happened pretty often to me that there's an airplane out there that is real close to me, and I was not advised of it. And it's not like ATC dropped the ball or anything. Sometimes it's because they themselves don't have a transponder, so ATC doesn't even know they're there. Sometimes it's just and sometimes it's just because ATC is focused on other things. IFR traffic does have precedence over VFR traffic, so so it is largely up to you. If you collide with another airplane, even on flight following, that is on you. ATC is more doing this for you as a courtesy, and sometimes if they're overloaded, they can deny flight following. They can say, "Oh, unable, too busy," and that's okay. Flight following is not required for VFR cross-country flights. The only time you really need to talk to ATC is if you are flying through controlled airspace like Delta, Charlie, or Bravo. But otherwise, you're free to fly without any ATC. You don't even need a transponder for a lot of the Echo airspace. In New England, it really limits your where you can go for certain. You have to stay outside of 30 miles from Boston Logan for one thing. You have to stay away from Providence Charlie airspace and any other Charlie airspace. So, you certainly want to have a transponder in New England if you don't want to dodge a bunch of places. So we are inside of the Charlie airspace right now. Right over there is TF Green. We got Providence is coming up over there. It hasn't rendered all the buildings yet, but let's get the latest weather now. Alright, 030 at 7, which means we are going to be landing runway 5. Landing runway 5 from this angle is kind of a pain in the butt because it's left traffic, but it's alright. Alright, we're going to start our descent right now. I'm going to bring it down to 220. Let's see if I can. So there's good old Providence right there. There's the skyline, and North Central. I'm expecting is up this way because there's 295. Oh, actually, let's see. I like to follow 146. That's 146 up there. So you take 146 up, and North Central is going to be right over there. So I am a little bit high, but it's okay because I need to circle around the airport to land anyways. Yeah, there's the airport. I see it now. So let's see, where am I right now? Yeah, I think I can just tell them. Providence approach, 814 November Delta has the airfield in sight. And say intent. Oop. What? 814 November Delta. I'm landing at North Central Airport, not Providence. Over to CTF 23075, thank you. 814 November Delta. Yeah, that's contact CTAF for landing clearance. That is a little bit silly. Okay. Anyways, yeah, I've got some feedback for say intentions. It's a lot of it is nitpicky, but it's still very irritating. North Central traffic, 814, this is Arrow, 814 November Delta, 5 miles to the south, inbound, planning for runway 5, North Central. So yeah, typically I would do my initial radio call 10 miles out, but because I'm coming in from this angle, it's kind of hard to do that. I'm very, very high, but I'm expecting to lose quite a bit of altitude as I make my circle around here. So what I typically do is, a lot of people like to do what people like to call the teardrop. I've pattern entry suggestions are so they are both very standard and very divisive. Some people hate that approach. A lot of people prefer to do fly upwind, which is what I'm doing right now. My upwind is very high, but that's okay. I'm planning to get into pattern altitude soon, which is 1,400 at North Central. In fact, I'm not even really crosswind, or I'm not even going to be crosswind because I'm not at pattern altitude. So, yeah, I'm going to take this a little bit wide here. Flying over another hot spot I go to, which is Lincoln Mall. Alright, so now I'm at 2,400, so I expect by the time I'm done with this turn I'll be at close to pattern altitude anyways. So I might as well make my next call here. North Central traffic, Arrow 814 November Delta, left crosswind, runway 5, North Central. I'm close enough to pattern altitude to say that. So, now I really need to lose a lot of airspeed once I get down to pattern altitude here. So right now, once again, I am going to go into sterile cockpit mode and just do what I need to do to land. North Central traffic, 814 November Delta, left downwind, runway 5, North Central. North Central traffic, 814 November Delta, Arrow, left downwind, or left base, runway 5, North Central. Whoa. North Central traffic, Arrow 814 November Delta, final 5, North Central. Dumps, gas, undercarriage, mixture, prop, seats. North Central traffic, Arrow 814 November Delta, clear of all taxi, runways. Taxiing to the apron. North Central. Oh, look, my buddies are still there. Boy, they better get out of the way. Oh well, we'll park it over away from them anyways. These airplanes are not parked on the T's. Oh wait, no, they are. Never mind. Okay, I guess what I can do is I'm gonna do what I would be doing. Yeah, it's not ideal. Alright. Alright. And I'm going to use the pushback helper. Yeah. There's... Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, that's a little fast, little fast. There we go. Alright. Yeah. Well... This is also my least favorite part of the flight, and yeah, I'm about to crash into that other plane. I'm better. I'm better in real life at this than I am on the sim, but still not perfect. But I at least don't bump into airplanes in real life. But yeah. This has never been my strong point. Alright, there we go. Good enough for me. So now I'll just do the tie downs. Great yoke. Done. And I'm going to reset this back to 1200 just because. Alright. And there we go. Alright, well, that's it for and tuck it back to north central. Thanks for watching.